And I think it's important to note that he explored and learned all these things through decades and decades and decades and his entire life. He was
Right.
There wasn't like a strong period of a decade where he was like, actually, I'm just gonna like watch Netflix for a while. He was constantly pushing himself in random directions and learning stuff. So he gets to pile on all these things.
Yeah.
It's a lifetime of work.
And I think that's actually really useful to note for anybody. I remember we got that question, which we did on the 5 questions a while ago, from somebody saying like, I feel bad because other people seem to be so much better at everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, some of the people, and I think they were talking about me specifically, have been around for 33% longer.
Yeah, and that's a good amount of time. You can learn a lot of one thing in like a year. So what if you have many more of those?
No 18-year-old feels bad for having less money in like the stock market than a 30-year-old, because they understand how compound interest works. So I think you have to just sort of shift your thinking to view time and investment in learning as the same thing. It's compound interest. Like if you just consistently put an effort into learning or physical training, the time is a very important ingredient there.
Yeah.
And that's probably one of the big things is it seems like he had a lot of time where he wasn't having to work 8 hours a day at the same thing over and over again just to make a living because he had patrons. And how nice would it be for us to all have patrons? But he also didn't waste his time. I mean, maybe he didn't deliver things, but he didn't just consume media or drink or whatever.
Like, sure, we do have things built now, literally to addict us to wasting our time.
Yeah.
So we gotta watch out for that. I don't know what Da Vinci would have done if he had a smartphone and like, Candy Crush. Maybe he would have loved it.
Probably gotten really good at some ridiculous RTS game.
Yeah.
Like Crusader Kings 2.
I don't like that version.
He's a really good EVE Online player.